Okay, hello there everyone, here is Nintendo Gen 64, and welcome to the top 10 movies that I like, but everyone else doesn't like. And now, a couple weeks ago I did a top 10 movies of the movies that everyone else likes, but I don't like, so I decided that I'd, make another one about, the ones I like, but, everyone else doesn't like. The rules for this one, though, are that I'm trying to be a bit original, so I've seen a couple other videos of people who have done a similar thing, and I'm trying to not put any of those on my list. Also, I'm trying to stick away from comedies because everyone has a different sense of humor, and that's usually what makes a comedy, whether someone laughs at the jokes or not. So I'm not putting any comedies on this list, and I also try to stay away from like those massive like movies like 2012 where it's just the effects are like you just like rely on the effects and the intensity of it to make it a good movie. Like I'm not putting any of those on there either. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my top 10 movies that I like that everyone else doesn't like. Number 10. Okay, so number 10 for my list is Next, starring Nicolas Cage. That's right. Yeah. Now I don't know why people don't like Next. I actually really enjoy this movie. It's a nice it's sort of like a time travel movie where this guy has the ability to go forwards 2 minutes into the future, which I find that is that's a great premise, and the movie actually does use that premise to quite a good effect. Now I can see why people maybe think Nicolas Cage can go over the top a bit, and I think he to an extent does in this movie, but I didn't really mind that. I thought that he did well, and I liked the interaction between him and who plays the one? I can't remember her, but I like that. I think it's yeah, it's a very nice plot as well, about how in the end, like there's these some agents or something, they're looking for him because they know they found like he can use he's got this power to look 2 minutes into the future, so they get him and they use him to like look in the future and see see what if their plan is going to work or not, which I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty smart. You have smart villains actually utilizing something for once, which is quite rare in most movies. But yeah. So I like the premise. It builds on the premise, and I think it's just an interesting movie. I don't really see. I see a couple flaws with it, obviously, like this movie, and I don't think any of these movies on this list are in my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah. Number 9. Okay, number 9 is Space Jam, which, now I can see, actually this is probably, one of the movies where I can see why a lot of people don't like this movie, and, I can see why it's a bad movie, but I still like it, because, maybe, I don't know, I have some nostalgia for it, because I watched it when I was a kid or something, but, it's actually not too bad in my opinion. Michael Jordan, actually, for most basketball players who do have acting, go have acting careers, he didn't do too bad, but, he's not as bad as like some of the other ones I've seen, like Shaquille O'Neal. But yeah. So Space Jam, it's the movie. I think exists solely to just advertise Michael Jordan. That's like that seems to be like the only point of the movie. Michael Jordan and the National Basketball Association. But it's got Looney Tunes, and everyone likes Looney Tunes, and it's got some nice cameos by like the guy who voices Homer Simpson and Bill Murray. For some reason, I don't know why Bill Murray's in the movie, but I guess he's friends with Michael Jordan or something. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I found it's not as funny like the Looney Tunes. I don't think work as well, but I think it's a nice concept. Looney Tunes playing basketball to save themselves from becoming show like a thing on a planet. That's kind of Looney Tune-ish, and yeah, I didn't mind this movie. I think maybe like looking back, I don't like it as much as I did when I was a kid, but it's still not too bad. So yeah, Space Jam, number 9 on my list. Number 8. Okay, number 8. This is borderline so bad I like it, and I tried to stay away from these as well when I made this list. It's Inspector Gadget with Matthew Broderick. This movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Like I went to see this in a drive-in cinema. I don't think any of those really exist too much anymore, but I went to see it in a drive-in cinema. This scared the pants off me because I saw Toy Story 2 before, and then I saw this, and it scared me. And I actually, I watched it later when I was a bit older, and I actually enjoyed it. Actually, I find it like I liked Inspector Gadget as a TV show as a kid, and to see it like in the live action, I thought it was pretty good. Matthew Broderick, he's I think in my opinion Rupert Everett's overacting makes up for Matthew Broderick's underacting, but it's Matthew Broderick. He's not too bad. He's got that feckless charm, I think, that he has. I think that's like the only reason people really like him, because he's like got this like schoolboy kind of charm, which it's not too bad. He's a pretty poor actor, but yeah, I don't know. He seemed like I don't know. This was a pretty good movie in my opinion. I like Inspector Gadget. I liked the fact that you actually like see. It was good. It was actually good effects for 2001 or something, because all the Go-Go Gadget, whatever the hell things, they didn't do to those too badly. They kind of seemed like realistically looking, but it was cool to see like in real life like a Go-Go Gadget helicopter thing. That was pretty cool. I like the concept. I like the TV show. Maybe if I hated the TV show, I wouldn't like this movie. But it seems interesting. It's a good, interesting premise. Underacting it, but overacting at the same time. I think it is a very cartoony kind of feeling movie. So yeah, Inspector Gadget number 8 on my list. Yeah. Number 7. Okay, number 7 is Serendipity with John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale, I think. Now, a lot of people don't like this movie because it's like, I don't actually know why, because it solely seems to be convenience as the main, like convenient events happening is like the main plot point. Like it is serendipity. I mean, but like they seem to only meet under coincidence, which is like, oh, that's so far fetched. How would that happen? I enjoy it. I think it's clever, like the ways that like unrelated things happen. Like I think like he has like a note or something, like a money, and he like draws on it or something, and he gives it to like the someone at a shop, and then when she's getting change, she gets the note also. He gets a book from a bookstore. Oh no, he puts a book from a bookstore that's like written in the back of it, and she gets that book or something. I find that even though it is far fetched, I find it cool that like, what are the chances? That's the whole point of the movie. What are the chances? And then like I think they don't meet. Like they stop. Like they don't see each other for ages. And then, like, in 2 years' time, like, some random event happens. I can't remember what it is exactly, because I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years, but some random event happens where they meet up again, which, it's pretty interesting. Also, like, the relationship between the two characters, Kate Beckinsale and John Cusack, I like that. Actually, I do like John Cusack as an actor as well. He's great. In 2012, which I would have put on this list, but I didn't really want to. But, so yeah, I didn't mind this movie. I can see why people wouldn't like it, because if you do have a very, very low suspension of disbelief, then you're not going to enjoy it as much as someone who would buy into this kind of thing. So yeah, I didn't mind this movie. I don't see I see things wrong with it, obviously, but at the same time, I do enjoy it. So yeah, Serendipity number 7 on my list. Number 6. Okay, number 6 is a movie I've seen quite recently, actually. It's Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium with Natalie Portman and Dustin Hoffman and Jason Bateman. Now, I'm actually I don't know, this movie actually, maybe I should have put it a bit, like, up a bit, because I don't think I like this movie as some of the other ones I put just before, but it's still, I think it has a good message, and I think it, has an interesting concept about this, guy who owns this like massive toy store that apparently is alive. Like I thought that was pretty interesting, and I like seeing like all the kids and their interactions with toys. I don't know why I get that was interesting, seeing them play with the toys and like see how the store was actually run and everything, and how there's like all these interesting stuff inside the store. That was pretty interesting, I thought. I like Dustin Hoffman's performance in this. He was like this like wise mentor guy who like no one wanted to see die, and he was like, yeah, apparently he'd been at like all these historical events and everything, and like everyone liked him and that kind of thing. But it was at the same time like it was like so fantastical and fantasy and everything. But then they have an accountant come in who like it's kind of like reality versus fantasy kind of thing, where they have to sell the store, and that like the implications of real life are coming in, and they have to it's like the innocence of people versus like the harsh realities of life. And I found that very interesting, the comparisons that or not the comparisons, but like the way they draw these two elements together in this movie. Like Jason Bateman's character, who's like an accountant, how he's like, no, this can't be possible and everything like that. And Natalie Portman, who's like so innocent and like believes it all, and it's like, oh yeah, you have to believe it. It's like, yeah, well, I found that interesting actually, the way they did that. What else can I say? This is actually an interesting movie. If you haven't actually seen it, what did I say before? No, I actually do like this movie better than some of the other ones on this list I put before. So I think it deserves its place at number 6 on the top 10 movies that I like but everyone hates. Number 5. Okie dokie. Number 5 is Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams. Now, I don't see why many people don't like this movie. Actually, it seems like it's set in the future, and it's like they get a house robot who starts to have feelings and emotions and stuff like that. He wants to be human, pretty much. I found that very interesting, and the fact that he has such a connection with the family, and then he has a connection with the family, then they age and he stays the same. And towards the end, when he meets up with I think it's in the middle of the movie where what's the girl's name? Little Miss, or I can't remember her name, but he calls her Little Miss. But how she's like a grandmother, and he meets up with her. I found that very moving because she was the one that wanted to start a relationship with him in the first place. Otherwise, he would have just been like a house robot. I found that very moving when she was dying and he came in there. And same with like when their father dies, when he dies, and they're all there. I found that was moving. That was very moving, actually, and just like it's a very emotional film. Like if you don't like emotional films, then I wouldn't recommend seeing Bicentennial Man because it does get quite emotional at points when he outlives all the characters and you see them die. But at the same time, it's a very great exposition on like how someone who wants to have emotions and wants to feel like love and that kind of thing can't because they're a robot, even though that wouldn't happen in real life. But it's a very interesting concept. I like this movie. I think Robin Williams, he does seem a bit robotic as Andrew, but I still think he didn't do too bad. He actually did well to convey like the message because he was very subtle in his performance. And yeah, what else can I say? I really did enjoy this movie when I saw it. I've seen it about twice, I think. Yeah, it's a great movie. I recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 4. Number 4 is now, yeah, it's Van Helsing. Now, this movie, I think, it doesn't have a good as plot as Bicentennial Man. But the reason I like this movie is because it is a very good popcorn movie. Like it's got a werewolf, Dracula, and Frankenstein in the same movie, as well as like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and a guy is hunting them in order to let some chick get her family into heaven. Now that's a good plot. I like the premise of this movie. Does it deliver on this premise? Not as well as it could have, but because it seems like it's a very like okay, let's throw Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula in there and see how they go. It doesn't seem like they put much thought into it, but it's a very entertaining movie. There's a lot of action. Too much overuse of CGI, I think, but I don't really think that matters too much because it is a very high-paced fast action movie. It is kind of at moments it feels like it's insulting its audience's intelligence by having character expositions that are blatantly obvious to everyone who's started to watch it from the beginning of the movie. But apart from that, it's a really interesting. Well, it's not. Well, it is interesting actually. It's interesting to see. Well, what am I saying? It's not. No, okay. So it's not interesting, but it keeps your attention. If you've got a short attention span, you'll probably like this movie because there's like a lot of stuff happening all the time. And the reason this is probably higher than Bicentennial Man is because it got a very, very low rating, like 23% or something, and Bicentennial Man got like 50 something. So yeah, maybe if Bicentennial Man got lower, it'd be because I do like Bicentennial Man more than this, but more people hate Van Helsing, so that's why it's here, number 4 on my list. Number 3. Okay, number 3 is another Hugh Jackman movie. Now this is X-Men: The Last Stand. Now, a lot of people think that this movie, where it seems to be like a step down from X-Men 2, which I don't really think so. I actually like this movie more than X-Men 2. No, I think I like X-Men 2 better, but I like it more than X-Men 1 because it's very it's got it's very nice to see that, like, what happens in the movie is it's like the mutants, or like superheroes or mutants or whatever, they are like treated as like Jews or something like that, like as a bunch of people who like everyone wants to cure and erase from the planet. And even though in the past two movies they have like saved the world from almost total destruction, they still aren't appreciated, and people are like afraid of them. Now that's interesting because most superhero movies, like Spider-Man, well, Spider-Man's probably a bad example, but like the old Batman movies and like Iron Man and that kind of thing, where the superhero, he starts off as a bit, don't have anything much to do with him, but towards the end, like, and even into the sequel, everyone's like, oh yay, they're gonna come and save the day and that kind of thing. Well, actually, they do that in Spider-Man, so that's a good example. But in X-Men, everyone's like, oh, fear the mutants, they just want to, destroy us and that kind of thing. That's pretty interesting, and I like the flashbacks to when Xavier and Magneto were like children, or not children, but like younger adults, and how they like get, oh, what's her name? I can't remember. She's like the Phoenix or something. I can't remember her character's name, but yeah, how like they go meet her and bring her into like the school thing. That's interesting. It's nice to see him like of a flashback thing. I think the action in this movie is pretty good. The story of like the mutants. There's like one lot of mutants trying to, kill the humans, and there's like another lot of humans trying to, stop this conflict happening. I think that's pretty interesting. It doesn't deliver as much on the plot as it could have, but at the same time, I think it's still pretty interesting. So yeah, X-Men: The Last Stand, number 3 on my top 10 movies that I like, but everyone hates. Number 2. Okay, now number 2 is an interesting choice for me because on my last list I had a James Bond movie at number 2 as well. This is actually James Bond: A View to a Kill. Now, this I think is probably the lowest, maybe apart from Her Majesty's Secret Service and The Living Daylights, maybe the lowest James Bond or rated James Bond of all time, because it seems it's like what this movie does is it has Roger Moore in it, but he's like 60 or 50 or 60 years old, and he's having interactions and relations with like a 20-year-old girl, and he's like going on like all these fast-paced action adventure sequences and stuff like that, and it seems like they're really trying to hide his age and make him like still appeal to like a young audience. Now, I find that hilarious, but at the same time, I think this movie is pretty interesting, and I think it to an extent does pull that off. Now, Christopher Walken plays the villain, Maxor, and I think he is hilarious in this movie. He's so over the top funny that it's so good to see. And anytime Christopher Walken's in a movie, he's going to have this amazing performance, and he does in this movie as well. Now, the plot is actually kind of a bit contrived and a bit, convoluted at times. Like, what are they doing? They're smuggling. They're trying to like create like a. First of all, they're trying to smuggle in drugs or something to enhance people's abilities, and then they're trying to destroy some valley thing so that he will have like the control of the world's microchips or something. And it's kind of a bit, convoluted, but at the same time, I still find it interesting. It's a James Bond movie. James Bond is one of my favorite film series of all time. So I still found this. It's a very gripping, entertaining movie with a lot of action, a lot of nice character developments from certain characters, and yeah, all around I do enjoy this movie. So yeah, James Bond: A View to a Kill, number 2 on my list. Number 1. Okay, time for number 1. Now, number 1 is borderline so bad it's good, but at the same time, I could have put another type of this movie on there. It's Batman Forever. Now, Batman Forever, I would have put Batman and Robin on here as number 1, but that is so bad it's good. Batman Forever is borderline in this, so it still is kind of enjoyable because the villain. Now, I have to say, whenever Val Kilmer is on the screen as Batman, he's talking to Nicole Kidman. I find that extremely boring most of the time. But whenever you have a scene with Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones, well, you're in for a treat, because these guys really, their overacting makes this movie very, very entertaining. Also, I do like comic book movies, and I do like the movies where they get the campiness and the darkness right. I think this movie did very well to get stay with the camp of the 1960s Batman. Like the if you don't know what camp is, it's like the bang, pow, zoom kind of thing when like the bubble thingies come up. But and you know the Robin's very very borderline homosexual costume, that kind of thing. That's camp. But yeah, this movie it did well to keep the campness meter to a good level and keep the darkness to a good level, because movies like I didn't actually enjoy like Batman Returns because that was just camp dark for my opinion. But and I liked Dark Knight, but I think at the same time it was like camp dark. That's like that. So yeah, I would have maybe liked Batman Dark Knight if it was like a bit more camp. And we're talking about Batman Forever here. So what else did I like about Batman Forever? I liked the character interaction, especially between Tommy Lee Jones and the Riddler, as I said, Two-Face and the Riddler. But I did like Robin, how he was like whatever Dick Grayson, how he's like a kind of rebellious teen, how Val Kilmer's trying to say no, don't throw your life away kind of thing. I found that was an interesting relationship too, about how usually like the original telling of Robin was like that he was just some orphan guy who came to stay with him and then decided to join him. But in this one, he's like rebellious and actually wants to join Batman, but Bruce Wayne. But Bruce Wayne's like, no, I don't want you. I work alone, kind of thing. But towards the end, he realizes he needs a partner. So I found that was pretty interesting. And like I said, the villains are very good. I like how Jim Carrey kind of like he steals this movie, in my opinion. And also, it's like how he manipulates Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face is like the main villain, but it seems like the Riddler is like manipulating him in order to utilize his plan in order to take over Gotham City and find out who Batman is. So I found that was a very nicely done plot point there. So what else can I say? Batman Forever, I enjoy the over the topness and the campiness, but I still appreciate it for its dark moments. Yeah, very nice movie. That's number 1 on the top 10 movies that I hate, but everyone no, that I like, but everyone hates. What the hell am I talking about? I don't know if I've explained myself as well as I've liked to, but there you go. I've done it now. The light is fading, so in a few moments here you won't be able to see my face at all, because I think when we started this video you can see my face very nicely, but now it's all dark outside. So I'm going to wrap this video up quickly. Thank you for watching. If you would like to say whether or not you agree with me in the comments, or maybe say what your top 10 movies are that everyone hates but you like, that would be very interesting. Also, you can do video responses or whatever. I'm not going to force you to. You don't have to, though. Anyway, I'll be back next week with another installment of Nintendo Gen 64's Top 10 lists. Until then, take care and farewell for now, but not forever. See you later, guys. Goodbye.